Good evening, folks. Welcome to another session from the Wise Asylum with me and the Tate Jimmy. What's going on in LA? I mean, it's so obvious, isn't it? Let's be honest about it. If you've got some brain about you, but flaming Nora, I mean, the devastation is just ridiculous. I mean, the amount of properties that are burned. Clever, there's fire and all the trees are burned. But it's a bushfire. We are told we have to accept. Nothing to do with them red lasers. I mean, just think of the devastation. It's like whole towns, isn't it, really, if you think about it? Just all the people that have to be evacuated. What could be really going on there, I do wonder. It's just a little bit dodgy, if you ask me. Way too dodgy to be just, you know what I mean, a bit of an accident. But of course, who knows? But there are some interesting points to be noted in relation to prior knowledge, let's say, of the old thing. games with water, the fact that they've given all their firefighting equipment to Ukraine. I mean, you know, what in the world? Now we get to see what Ukraine were really all about. And just what a bunch of wankers this American administration that they've had in for the last 4 years has been. Obama, same, because it's the same shit. Obama set it up in Ukraine, and they've just channeled all the money and resources that all these states need, but especially California, which Arnie, you know, the Terminator, he was the tosser married to Kennedy that began to demolish what was the second biggest economy in the world, California, as a state in and of itself. They're demolishing Hollywood. You've got P Diddy going down, Jay-Z going down. You've got 50p. You've got Mel Gibson, that Wahlberg or whatever he's called, all trying to slip themselves in as the new leaders of the new Hollywood, and they expect us to believe that it's going to be something better, something cleaner. Yet, Mel Gibson, for all his nonsense, fell foul, did he not, because he accused a certain group of being behind everything, and he's now taking money off Elon Musk. Can you see this gig that's going on? They're demolishing Hollywood completely because it's such a vast method of influence. And you've got these other little shitbags coming in, and I think Wahlberg's a Catholic, and I think Mel Gibson's a Catholic. So you can see it's like they're trying to pretend that all of a sudden this Jesuit Vatican is on your side. Oh, we're all on your side. Look, it's finally coming back to rest where it belongs. To the cause of it fucking all, let's be honest. This is a Jesuit gig that's going on here. Trump's in it. Trump's King Cyrus. Elon Musk, King of Babylon, according to philosophy we looked at the other week. You've got Elon Musk interfering in our politics here. Who the fuck does he think he is, this fucking Chinese-looking shit-ass? What an absolute arsewipe this guy is. The problem we've got, though, of course, and this is the game of the shills, everything he says is correct. He's not talking out of his ass. However, who the fuck does he think he is to be coming over here onto Blighty and expecting anybody outside of Tommy Robinson's fucking fruit bats to be taking any notice? Fuck off, Elon Musk, you piece of shit. You're talking about Mars, you're a fucking fantasist, son. Your entire SpaceX is an absolute fantasy, CGI garbage. Your cars are shit. People have realised now that once you've bought it, when it comes to the end of its 9 years, you have to buy a fucking another. Because you can't buy a battery pack. What is it? Battery pack's $3,000 less than buying a brand new shitler. You know, I mean, this guy's a fraud beyond fraud. And here he is now telling everybody how it's to be, tantruming all over the show. Fell out with Nigel Farage, not that I'm a fan of Nigel Farage, of course. But the Reform Party, no, that's their ideology. What they stand for, yep, I'm with it. GBN News, what they stand for. I like what they stand for. But you've got to remember, at back of GBN News is Paul Marshall. Paul Marshall's behind fucking ARC, Absolute Return for Kids, a paedophile fucking academy ring that's took over education. You see, this is how they do the shilling. They get the shills out in opposition to what everybody's sick of, pump out what everybody's ready to listen to, but it's just another face of the same shithouses. Just another branch of the arseholes. And Elon Musk is the biggest arsewipe going. He's a fantasist. He's full of shit. His entire empire is. The Musk family come out of the Rockefellers. That means the Rockefellers are funding it. Bill Gates, his family come out of Rockefeller. It's Rockefeller money, which means it's Rothschild money, which means it's Venetian Holy See family money, all subservient to the bloodlines of Genghis Khan. There's your New World Order. It's them bastard Mongols and the offspring of Genghis Khan who have had everybody since the Middle Ages trapped. Venetians first, the Venetians thrust themselves across Europe and took over Western Rome completely. They handed Byzantine over to the Persians. You know, and you've got the Templars, you've got the Jesuits, you've got the Knights of Malta, you've got all these knightly orders. Then maybe some of them once in time did support and were behind Christianity. But they're certainly not anymore. They're very clear that it's a Solomon temple that they're building. There's no fucking evidence that Solomon even ever existed. It's utter shit. All of it. I've studied this stuff for years. There is no fucking evidence that Solomon or Solomon's temple or even King David ever fucking existed. It's utter shit. And in my opinion, it were all written and put together in the captivity at Babylon, as they tell us. Now, whether that happened many moons ago, or it was a lot closer to home, I don't know, because you get into history and you start to recognise that they've played with that to such a degree, it's difficult to even understand what year we're actually in on account. It's ridiculous, the amount of manipulation that's gone on through these monasteries, specifically the Jesuits, because they were tasked to educate the entire Western world from the get-go. That was the game, undermine the Protestant Reformation. And they've done a fucking good job. They've done a good job because they control Freemasonry. And the majority of WASPs have been stuck in Freemasonry because their dad were. I mean, it's so ridiculous that you can, you know, it's so obvious when you study this stuff without getting fixed at any particular side, any particular ideology. You're just following the truth of that doctrine we got way back, which is the way out. The kingdom of the Father is within. And if you're following that, you're not going to get fixed to any of these shitbag organisations, these ideologies, this nonsense they call religion today. I mean, what the fuck? They've turned the way out through a man into a fucking pantomime. It's complete and utter garbage, all of it. It's no wonder we're at a point we are today where everybody and his dog is confused. But then you're confused because you've always been looking outside of yourself for the way forward, for how you should live, how you should be, what's going to make you happy. Where's the fucking rule that says, thou shalt be fucking happy? Thou shalt not have any problems, thou shalt not have to get out your fucking pyjamas off your couch to eat. No, where's them laws? There isn't any. That's garbage that's been pumped down everybody's neck from the fucking television, from media. Anyway, so I just thought I'd have a bit of a rant there because I'm getting highly pissed off at the fact that people are just fucking sucking into this shit. Like it's coming out of God's ass. Well, our God, yeah, it's coming out of some God's ass, let's put it that way, but which God that might be, it's anybody's guess. But if you stick that and reference it against what's supposed to be right, it's not a very good one. It's not a very good one. And there's a lot of them, of these gods that are pumping shite out their arsehole into TV land, Hollywood and all the blah-de-blah. And people are sucking it through a straw. And that's it. And then they wonder, oh, what's happening? You're fucking happening. Or not happening. You're not happening. You're doing fuck all. So there's my initial rant on the gig tonight. Because, I mean, what's happening in LA is absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous that these tossers have got to a point where they can do this and still nobody's rising up and starting to get rid of these fucking politicians, these councillors, these chiefs of police that are all operating for the no-hide judge, 21st degree push a night. Nobody's moving against anything. It's like, Elon, will you go and shop for a bit? Elon, will you get Trump to go and shop for a bit? Bring me a taxi. It's like, fuck off! You know, I didn't even know I'm going to get excited tonight. I thought they were quite chilled out, actually, but I think you get my point. You get my drift, guys. You know, that's fucking La land. La land all over the fucking show. People are just so stupid. And yet they think they're fucking amazing and fantastic. No, you're not. You're fucking not. And I shouldn't be swearing, it's Sunday, but St. Jimmy's alright, he's on my shoulder, he says you can. He says you can swear, lad. All along the watchtower, if you please. So I am swearing, and I'm sick. So this LA, it's... I mean, we're not in LA, we're not even in America, but... It's an absolute disaster in front of everybody's faces that's deliberate. Not only is it the deliberate act in itself, they prepped for it years before. And it's like, what? This is going to happen everywhere. It's like, got all these numpties that, I'm going to run away to the mountains. Live with the animals because I'm sick of people. No, you're not sick of people. You're shit fucking scared because you're a coward. Well, where are you going to go if they can do this? Where are you going to fucking go anywhere on this earth if they can fucking do this with lasers? And of course, down the corner, they're going to blame who? Little green men. Because that's the next gig on the table, if they can get away with it. I mean, I watched Alex Jones last night. For an hour, he was sucking the piss out of Elon Musk's cock. And that's swearing again on a Sunday. I've never heard out like it. The guy's an absolute knob. And anybody that attaches themselves to that pillock, you deserve everything you get because you're a shill. And if you're not thinking you're a shill, you're sucking up to that penis because you think you're going to get views. You think you're going to get cash. Just like everybody's sucking up to Elon Musk because they think they're going to get cash. Well, you probably will. Anybody that's tied in to Alex Jones and his shit show, you are assholes. You're an absolute fucking joke. A joke. It's ridiculous to see and watch. And they're all at it. So I hope you can see now just the degree to which these tits, you've sat there and give, I know this. They're wankers. And all they've done that for is to get your attention so they can shove it all on Musk, Trump, and every fucking two-bit Zionist that's wrapped around that shit show now. Bolshevism, everywhere. You've got this pillar, Jimmy Savile's vagina, pretending to be in opposition to Trump, pretending to be on the side of Muslims, supporting this raping of white girls, calling people racist. He gets prompted on a conversation about grooming. And what does he do? He turns it right around. Well, the Muslims, it's Islamophobic. It's like, are you for fucking real, son? I don't think Jimmy was just shagging your ass, were he? He shagged your brain, son. You're a complete lunatic. You're a psychopathic, lying asshole. And you've surrounded yourself with the same. And why is nobody getting cross? These people should be hunted down for the mass murdering pigs that they are. They've already done one round in front of you, and you think they won't do it again in another way? Fucking damn right they will. It's all they know, these Bolsheviks, is murder. Murder, 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 everywhere they go. You need to start to get a grip, folks, out there, and just sat there watching TikTok or whatever. It's not going to cut the ice. It's not going to cut the game. It's not going to do it. It really isn't going to do it. It's ridiculous. Bit of good news, there were a fire across the road. Not good news on one of ours across the road, but watching the fire girls, I'll tell you what, they knew the job. They did a brilliant job, them fire girls. They were in an instant, and this thing just went, whoo. And this is an electrical. The meter just started to ba-boomf. And speaking to the lass that were in the flat, luckily she got out, there's no suggestion that they were tampering with it or anything. So what the hell's gone on there? Oh, is it a power surge? Was it a faulty meter or what? But bloody hell, you've never seen such smoke come out. It was smoke damage more than anything. But full praise to the Accrington Fire Girls. I'll tell you what, boys. You did a fine job, and you didn't go until that thing was secure and safe. And I'll give a big round of applause to the Fire Girls. Well done, girls. Good job all round. So at least you've got one branch of the system apparently still operating correctly. Can't really say how much for the rest of them, can we? So there's a bit of good news, but speaking of fires, I mean, it's ridiculous. LA wildfires map 37,000 acre. Palisades and heat and blazes barely contained as fears wind could worsen the spread. Now I believe it's spreading again to another part. Is it Brentwood or something like that? So they're not actually even trying to put the bloody things out, are they? It's just about burn as much as you can. Now it says heard on the street, and this is Wall Street Journal. Many insurers have pulled back from offering standard California homeowners policies. But that isn't the only option. There is a safety valve for private home insurance in California. So obviously that's going to give us even more dosh. And I mean, as long as these people are insured, you know, believe it or not, it's a disaster like you've never seen. California fires later, LA landlords slammed for hiking prices during home shortage as 39,000 acres ravaged. So look at that, capitalism. It would be interesting to know what kind of landlords these people are, what kind of culture they are part of. LA fires live, Trump misinformation on water is inexcusable. Well, I'm sorry, but we've been looking and watching them destroy the water capacity in California since Arnold Schwarzenegger got in. So Trump isn't lying. But Times and Sunday Times he's telling lies. They've been taking, like they've been doing here, they've removed all their reservoirs. Because there's one thing you can't cry about here on Blighty is water shortage. But they can if they started to run it off underground, which I've said they're doing for a long time. Latest size and containment of LA fire, here's the latest figures. LA's worst natural disaster in US history. It's ridiculous that it's actually, and it's happening right in front of us. It's terrible that people are so subdued, so inanimate these days. It's ridiculous. And this is, you know, you're seeing this going on here. This is going to be the MO everywhere to get what's left into these smart cities. Now, another interesting fact that's been put out this week. China, big swathes of China are all painting the roofs blue. Now, if you go back to the Hawaiian event, same thing, because here you've got wildfires, but none of the trees around the houses seem to have been touched. It's just the properties. Blue bins, again, not touched. You know, you've got to look at it like that. But you look at Hawaii, there were certain stars that are tied into this Diddy gig that had their roofs painted blue and weren't touched in them fires on Hawaii. So what are China doing? Are they getting ready for warfare in this method? Which, if we're honest, suggests that it's not Chinese to be blamed for this, for what's going on in California. If the Chinese are sort of protecting themselves from this method, it would appear to be a bit closer to home. This no-hide system, folks, you've really got to understand what mindset's behind it and what the intention is. They hate everybody. They hate everybody. They despise you. And they've got everybody sucking the shit out their ass. And if you're following Tommy Robinson, you are playing on side for the very force that's ripping the world apart. And it drives me up the wall that people can't see past that little shithead. He's probably not even in prison. All they're doing is raking money in. Raking it in. So you're telling me that Rebel News, a Jewish operation, doesn't know law, doesn't have lawyers coming out of its house that understand, well, nobody needs to be put in prison on person, off person. But yet they're hiring QCs, or KCs rather, and saying, what, it's £9,000 an hour or something like that. You're being milked. You're being milked because you put all this shit on this little faggot that can't look after himself, which is why he lives in Tenerife. And you're pumping all this money into him so that you don't have to do shit. That's the ridiculousness of it. It's pathetic. But while that, honestly, it's just bizarre. It's bizarre what's going on. And California is just such a sad event. It's quite ridiculous. It's terrible. Really bad. It's not good. But let me just What could be going on there? I mean, now I've seen plans in the past that California, a big swathe of it, this is where they were doing a lot of these disasters in the last 6 years, has been earmarked for an even bigger Silicon Valley type industrial complex. It's huge. Now, what's going on here? This is Los Angeles. Well, hang on. Yeah, I mean, just a minute. I've got to, wait a minute. I forgot I'd change that. Well, we'll just have a look. What could it possibly be? Well, it couldn't be this, could it? Could it be this? Hang on. So there's LA. But look at what they've got planned. Smart LA 2028. And this were put out in 2020. Oh, something else was going on in 2020 that took everybody's attention. I don't think they quite got a grip of this. So the game is a smart LA by 2028. Well, if you're going to build a new LA, don't you have to destroy the old one first? Well, I'd say, yeah, you do. So there is an agenda. Our vision philosophy, who's I? Who is it? This I, infrastructure, data tools, blah, 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 blah. These guys have got this all mapped out, what they're doing. The soul of our recovery will shape the contours of our city's future for decades to come. We have a blueprint for the city of the future. Mer Eric Garcetti. Okay then, we live in a world full of urban challenges, from racial injustice that impacts our unmandated populations to natural disasters and that threaten safety and property, to environmental changes that affect the very water we drink and the air we breathe. Well, of course, yeah, you've been removing the water. You've been chemtrailing the living daylights out to the west coast of America for a long, long time. From what an old guy used to follow called bunker busters, where if you think chemtrails are bad, you want to see the size of these things that were pumping them out from the ocean. It's like 10,000 chemtrails in one line. And they've been pumping this stuff over Washington on the East Coast, Seattle, San Francisco, and California for a decade. A decade. So they can talk about environmental, natural disasters, minority populations, 90s riots, LA riots, said to be the first experiment using the tower technology to excite people to riot. It's all been tested in California. To address these challenges, cities seek tools that can positively transform the urban environment. Seek tools. Oh, yeah. The most promising of these tools is technology. Yeah, well, we started to get a grip of that, pal. While not a silver bullet, technology provides solutions previously unavailable to generations before us. It is technology that enables transparency in our policing and gives a powerful voice to our diverse communities. Does it? I think you're dreaming, pal. It is technology that prepares us for the incoming natural disasters. So they knew they were coming for incoming natural disasters. It is technology that innovates alternative energy sources to reduce pollution and limit our carbon footprint. It is technology that allows people with disabilities to fully participate in civic life. What an utter pile of shit. But the fruit bats, oh, disabled, oh, yeah, they just tick all the buzzwords, don't they, that everybody's like striking about. This week I've read that here in UK they're saying we've only got half of gas left. Well, you've took all gas tanks down over the last 20 years. What do you expect? So now they're getting you ready to be expecting a gas shortage here in the UK within the next couple of weeks. Did you see that? Of course, who are they going to blame? Vlad the Spastic. Yeah, oh, they've got it all set. You've already let them create the demons for them to blame while they start causing chaos in all different avenues of shit. It's just ridiculous, to be honest, but yet you can guarantee these hotels and these holding these immigrants have got full gas pumping out 24/7. Well, you keep putting your money in the game. You keep the game alive by putting your money into their bank. You use the services. You know, you're not the brightest out there on the tree. I've said this before, but you really need to start to get a grip, folks, because nothing's going to change unless you change. Technology enabled the City of Los Angeles to efficiently and ethically improve the quality of life for our residents, businesses and visitors. In other words, when done right, technology makes us smarter. This is why the City of Los Angeles strives to be a smart city. In 2019, the City of Los Angeles Information Technology Agency convened its Smart City Committee, composed of 24 departments and elected officials. While Los Angeles have become a civic technology leader, winning the US Digital City Award for 3 straight years, the exponential growth of new technologies and increasing public expectations requires new levels of coordination to realise our vision. Our Smart City Committee came to the following conclusions. Smart cities are multifaceted and made up of several components, not just IT infrastructure. Smart cities are evolving, which requires both near-term and long-term goals that adhere to an overreaching set of smart city values. Smart cities require collaboration where government and non-government entities work together to deliver best-in-class services to the public. Smart cities require local resident and business participation, especially in light of the major social movements such as the protests for racial justice, the digital divide and social impacts from the book script. Well, you set that up as well. Can you see how they set up the arena and the scripts for everybody to jump on because they're stupid, they've no life, and they're just bored? Smart cities don't happen by accident. No, damn right they don't. We make it happen. Come on. They tell you, if you're awake to it. They require careful strategic planning, yeah, damn right, and investment. Yeah, it's cost a fortune, hasn't it, for this laser system. To become intelligent urban ecosystems designed for the humans, the monsters that live there. Yeah, ecosystems designed for the monsters that live there. Yeah, when you start to break down the coding, doesn't it make sense? Yeah, they've designed urban ecosystems for the monsters that live there. So they're taking your water away. They're flattening your cities. They're burning them to the ground. They're frying you with 5G and all the rest of it. Because you're monsters. Understanding the importance of technology for the modern city, Smart LA 2028 is our concise smart city strategy, which is followed by specific working group meetings and an implementation plan for impacted City of Los Angeles departments. Ted Ross, General Manager, CIO, City of Los Angeles. See, these people are responsible as fronts for this military-industrial complex. Way above our own militaries. Look at it, it's just... Now, I'm having a few server problems at the moment, so I haven't been able to put these up on the website. So I can't really offer them up, these documents, as I usually do underneath. Now, if I can sort this out during the week, then I will obviously... visits for the 2028 Summer Olympics. So, are they getting the Olympics there? Yes! See, these Olympics are evil. Evil. And now they've got biffs everywhere doing it. They've got boys training every day to beat the shit out of girls. Boxing and jiu-jitsu and all this malarkey. You know, it's just so twisted. There's the... Look, now they can't build that while everything else existed, can they? You see what I'm saying? All in sync with Kazakhstan. It's all making sense now, isn't it? You can see the new design, the new architecture. Twisted garbage. Machine man. It's just... It's ridiculous. But there you go. It's a plan. And it's a plan that's been on for a lot longer than even 2009. 19 rather, as they're describing there. So, So they're hosting the summer 2028 Olympics and Paralympics. So everybody's going to get on side because it's about disabled people. Smart city infrastructure, data tools, services and applications, connectivity, digital inclusion. I mean, I've seen data poverty now being advertised. I mean, what bollocks is that, data poverty? Come on. Smart city governance, coordination and investment of smart city efforts across city departments. That's your stakeholder committees, people, your stakeholder communities, not you. You're just the battery that they can charge whenever they feel like it to pay for it, to make you build it. So there you go. That's what's going on. Participant departments, water and power, information technology, Office of the Mayor, Los Angeles World Airports, Public Works Bureau of Sanitation, Public Works Bureau of Engineering, Street Lighting, and Department of the Spastics. And they've been playing this game in the background, and all you suckers are funding it, acting as volunteers for it. It's just so ridiculous. 5G delivers LA's next generation internet access. Oh dear, yeah. It's just so... Yeah. 10% reduction in travel time. 40,000 loop detectors across... What the hell is that? Reduce electricity usage. How are you going to do that with them towers? So if they have to reduce your electricity usage in order they can power these towers. Makes sense. That's how they're doing it. Reduce electricity usage, annual savings 3 million by converting 165,000 street lamps to LED. Well, we know what LED does to your eyes. And of course, if you're invading a country, you want everybody to be blind and spastic, don't you? And transgender. You can't go wrong. And, you know, it's like, right, we're on the front line, chap. No, can you get me an Uber? Will you get me a McDonald's with Just Eat? Because I can't find a front line if I can't have an Uber. Can you see the crack? Yeah, it's just thick. They're thick. La La Land is thick. Thank God we're in the Wise Asylum. Our lamp shines at Lax Airport. Yep, okay. LA's Green New Deal. New Deal. Ooh, 1933, remember that? 1997, do you remember that? New Deal. New Deal always means let's get further into the no-whites system. Strategic challenges. So look, during the development of this plan, the City of Los Angeles Department of Experts identified a series of strategic challenges to overcome as we increase the capabilities of smart city infrastructure. Now then, yeah, so challenges to be overcome. Well, all them properties were a challenge, were they not, if they're going to build this Star Wars crap? See, people, like a smart city situational awareness. Well, no one was having a choice now, are they? The need for accurate identification and location of utilities and sensors, government and private sector. Lack of remote monitoring and management for most LA street lamps, especially in historic neighbourhoods. Need for continuous monitoring and feedback. Monitoring. I mean, this is not a prison. This is your Chinese system to a T. Need for next generation capabilities. Need to grow fibre optic. Limited number of electric vehicle charging stations. That take so much juice it's unbelievable. Need for promoting smart alternative energy solutions. And all this has got to happen for 2028 because, of course, that's what they're going to parade it as, a super wind and rain change extravaganza. Coordinated smart infrastructure. Need for shared use of sensors and cameras. Inability to leverage private sector smart infrastructure. Security and ethical concerns. Increasing security issues. Smart devices, data sharing. Smart infrastructure, facial recognition. There you go. High-speed connectivity sensors can be used to discriminate against specific communities. I mean, this is just... It's a WEF wet dream, innit? Let's be honest. Come on, guys. And you've got Mel Gibson and all these tossers. They're not your friends, guys. These people are there to try and give you the idea that the cesspit has been removed. We are the new geezers, you know, all working for the same at the back end. Street lighting strategy, reimagine data sharing, adopt digital code of ethics. Incentive fibre optic access utility tracking. I mean, God grief, infrastructure. Well, you can't build a new infrastructure with the old one still there. Multiply EV to expand environmental sensors. Oh, it just on and on and on and on. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is the blueprint and reason you're seeing what you're seeing across your televisions of the disgraceful military attack on Los Angeles before your very eyes. It's just ridiculous that that is taking place, and still Coronation Street's on Monday. I don't know, it's sad really, but that's the game, that's what they're up to. It's not there's no accident here, there's no water, they're not putting them out. Prisoners are now involved in dealing with these fires and Mexicans because they want the actual Los Angeles residents out. Just get them out, evacuate them. Martial law is playing out. You can see what they've done in New Orleans when the FEMA were accused of killing folk. And if they weren't killing them, they were leaving them there to die, making sure they're shutting all the food outlets. They did the same in Hawaii. This is how they play. It's war on your land, disguised as disaster relief. And they've practiced this forever in Africa. Your Red Cross, the biggest. All your children's charities that are out there. Child trafficking. Medical intrusions everywhere. This is what this Red Cross, all these charities, Oxfam, all these major charities that the dumbasses have thrown all the money at for the last 40 years because of the images they saw on the televisions of Africa droughts, when of course they built dams in order to create them droughts across Africa. And still today, how much money have you give over for water aid to Africa? And they're still without water. You know, I mean, duh. It's time for people that have that capacity to wake up now. To wake the fuck up. Stop giving your money to these spastics. Now, I was having a conversation with an old girl. And I think she was a bit of a businesswoman in the day. She's obviously retired. And she was saying that she'd done something for water aid. I think she did some walk or something last year. And no sooner had she done it, completed it, and sent her the money she'd raised, that they were ringing her up, badgering her. Can you give us £40 a month? Can you give us £20 a month? Just forceful. And I said to her, look, I said, when I once had a business all legit, you know, on the registered game like you'd expect, I said I were constantly getting calls from charities, you know, oh, blah, 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 because they just go through directories. I said, and I'd go along with it. I'd say, yeah. I said, that sounds great, that. I'd really be interested in supporting that. And they said, oh, great, can we sign you up? I said, yeah. I said, can you just do me one thing? Yeah, sure. Can you send me a copy of your accounts for the last 3 years? Well, we don't do that. I said, oh, all right. I said, no. I said, I'm really interested in your game. It sounds like you're doing a good job. But obviously, I need to see where your money's going if I'm going to support you. Well, we don't really do that. I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I said, I'm not going to throw my money at you if you're not going to show me where it's going. And they never ring you again. You never hear from them again. Because charities have covers. They're not taxable, and you can't see what they're doing with the money. But you can see, if you wake up, you'll see the guy that runs it coming back in his fucking Rolls Royce, going back to his mansion, while girls in the shop itself are doing it for nothing. And you're giving them all your fucking stuff. Duh! Everything's going charitable status because you can't see what's going on. They're unaccountable. And they don't pay any tax. And then you have to pay more tax. Because they're shifting what is private enterprise, which does pay tax and generates cash, into their hands, giving it a charitable front. They still need the tax, so they're shafting you. They're charging you more because you're a battery. You're a fucking monster. So they're going to charge you. Keep charging you up. Charge. It's fucking ridiculous. It's so obvious. The whole system that was set up in 1945. Well, 1933, but we saw its physical reality from 1945, just after the Second World War, when they installed the death cult, the NHS, Social Security, and basically got the entire baby boomer generation sucking on the tit of the Bolshevik state. And you get the Bolsheviks in Labour, they run riot against private enterprise through the unions and fuck them. And they pull all your private enterprise into the state and nationalise it. And then you get the capitalists that come in, take what they could without you noticing from what the Bolsheviks had pulled into the state, privatise it to the elites, the aristocracy, the bankers. You wouldn't see it. And then Thatcher came in and completely annihilated the lot by privatising our infrastructure. So the Bolsheviks suck your private enterprise into the state, the capitalists fucking give it to the mates, or the crown. The two sides of the same coin, and that edge of it, if you turn it, is the banker. The Venetians, who are sucking the shit out of the arse of the bloodlines of Genghis Khan. That's what's happening. That's the New World Order. And it don't matter what religion you are, that's what's running you. That's what's running the whole game. And they run every single religion, because the religion is basically banks. They're just banks. The mosque's a bank, extorts its community and lends it to its employees to expand its capital. That's it. Vatican is a bank. The synagogues, it's just a fucking bank. That's all it is. It's religion is just a method to force you on your emotions, to hand over your money, your time, your energy. And you do it gladly because you can't take responsibility for your own life. You have to give it up to someone else outside yourself. That's it. That's the way of the game world. That's Satan's world. The entirety of it. That belongs to him. And he was given that by the big cheese. And said, yeah, all right, if you can trick them all into thinking you're better than me, away you go. And now look at us today. You're all fucking showing him, hey, you're fucking rubbish, you. We're like, this guy, he's better. He gives us coin and shekels and fancy things. And Coronation Street and EastEnders. You don't. You give us hard fucking work, self-responsibility, and we're scared of that. So that's La La Land in its entirety. And what's going on in LA is absolutely fucking diabolical. Diabolical because the media is still a bit spinning it and people are still sucking it up. But there you go, there's the blueprint, there's the plan. And of course, Blue Beam's a part of this because down the line they're going to be like, well, they were lasers, but guess what? They were little green men called aliens. You better give us all your rest of your power that you've got so we can shove it in this no-hide trust, fuck off with it, and you're now a slave and you can't contract. Decapitation, ladies and gentlemen. 100% full decapitation of your title. That's what it is. You will be a slave, and a slave cannot contract. And that's basically it. So enough of that malarkey, because we have got a couple of documents to have a bit skim on, but one in particular which presents the inference of the church over the living. And we know that this has been going on for quite some time as they divide up the infant and the placenta. And in the Bible, what does it say? The firstborn will be subservient to the younger. Well, this is what it's saying. So if you add something about me, you'd realise that this Bible is about law. That's what it's about, law. And the New Testament is the way out. This is why they're trying to annihilate it. This is why they're getting rid of England. But then England became Old Testament anyway. That's why it's happened. That's how it's happened. By having, thinking and believing the Templars, who built the church in London in honour of Mary, the mother of Jesus, somehow transformed into a rectangle Solomon's temple, when yet if you look at it, it's still fucking round. Well, all these clever guys that were Templar mad and you're actually dumb as fuck. You know how dumb you are? You're thick. Not even thick. You're retarded. Retarded. Because you still suck it up like it's real. And it's a fantasy. You are that fantasy. So it's just, you're ridiculous. And you've wondered all these years why I wouldn't join your society. I wouldn't join your cult. I wouldn't join your organisation. It's because, as I was saying to you, you've gone in front end, they've taught you to be a dick and do what you're told and give you fancy things to keep you occupied. They taught me the other side of it. They were teaching me how they see you guys. But I tried to fucking teach you guys what they're telling me and how they use you. But you were too fucking stupid to learn and see and give it. You weren't taking it on. I would say to you, I'll fuck that off, I'm not going for it, and I'm going to give it to you. But you knew better. Now you know why I didn't join your fucking stupid societies. Now you know why I don't bend me fucking knee to any fucking two-bit tip bag, no matter how big his fucking car is, how big his house is, and how big his fucking title is. You don't mean shit to me because you're a fucking retard when it comes down to here, lads, eh? So now you know. That's why I said, fuck off, thanks. No, thank you. Not interested. You need to come and listen to what I'm telling you. Because I know everything you don't know. But no, you knew better because you were getting pets mean fucking prizes. You were had all your friendly group, your clan, your gig, you were having a good time and it was fantastic and amazing. Well, it ain't going to go that way for you down the fucking line, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Because just look at the amount of people that thought they had everything and were well connected in California who've lost everything. Not saying that some of them guys that are out there were part of it, they've been paid out, they already knew they were moving. But there's a big chunk of people in that area that thought they were somewhere, thought they had the backing, thought they were in, thought they had the protection. Well, you didn't, did you? It's gone. And if you're not insured, you're in a fucking mess. A big mess. So, these are the things that people need to start to take on board now. Right this minute. Before it does come to bite you like that. Because if it carries on, there's going to be nothing left. Nothing. Apart from absolute poverty. And we're back to gladiator days. That's how it's going to go. It's ridiculous. But, that can come back. That can happen. Fascism is already in here. How many warnings did we get through 80s from some of these old school conservative aristocrats saying, do not think that what took place in Germany cannot take place here. It can. Well, it has. And you don't even recognise it yet. Because you think fascism is a jackboot black uniform and a swastika. It's a political system. And it's when the corporations merge with the domestic system and becomes the overriding protocols upon which the state then is being moved, then the system called fascism is on your fucking nation. You're in it, you're under it, it's happening. You just wait, you just don't register because you're waiting for a jackboot. Well, it's coming. That's the next gate because they've got absolute power under the corporate. Everybody in the system is operating and happy to operate under those laws because they think it's the fucking law. And it's not. Even lawyers don't know what law is as opposed to contract law. It's ridiculous. And in this last 11 months now, doing this case, I can see it plain as day. It's there. You can see fascism overriding law in everything that they do. And do you know how pathetic it is, their system? It's so infantile, it's fucking ridiculous. They don't even have it mastered. It's ad hoc. We'll try to get away with this. They're doing practice. That's what they're doing, not procedure. And you have to pull them on that. You have to pull them on it and move it up the court system because them at the bottom, they're just local gangsters with their fucking mouth in the gravy train at local level. That's what they're doing, protecting their own, looking after their own, and they are a bunch of gangsters. You've got to get to the higher courts where at least you're getting judges and people that actually operate in accordance with how a court's supposed to operate. I'm not saying they're not still playing against law and for the corporate. They are. But you then have to come in and put that right. Otherwise, we have lost our law in the Western nations. And that is when you're looking at full-blown Bolshevism being activated across your nation. And Jimmy Savile's vagina is perfect. He's the perfect psychopath. Rinsed and brought up by Jimmy Savile. Embedded in Esther Ranson. All these paedophile protecting networks. She set up Childline specifically to filter out accusations against elites. And people still love her. No, you need to get a grip of what this cult now that's running a back end of this Labour government actually is. And it's not what you think. It's Jimmy Savile. It's the paedophile royals. It's everything you despise when you're looking at what's going on in the US with Diddy and Epstein and all. It's the same. It's the same gig. Robert Maxwell. So, of course, you know then it's Mossad. Whatever that is. People say it's Jewish. Is it not? The people that run Israel are not Jewish. They just claim to be. In order that they can pull in the real Jews to work for them, like they pulled the Christians into Zionism and the Muslims, well, pretty much from the get-go, have been sucked into this game because they despise the Jews, not recognising, of course, that when you look at the big part of the religion, it's a carbon copy. And that's the worrying side of all this. It's ignorance that's running it. And until ignorance is pushed aside, nothing is going to change. Nothing. So, who's joined us tonight? And so, just another little quick, but the characters that I sort of discussed on their own terms a few weeks ago, who went out their way to attack me for absolutely no reason whatsoever. This guy who claims to be Maximus, he thinks he's fucking Rambo. This guy, his actions are just beyond contempt. The way he's attacking the females that he believes have upset him, when all they've done is call him out on his scam around the 1099s. It's absurd. This guy is, I mean, it could even be his mole. It's one of them because it's anonymous. They're doing everything anonymous. Reported this last to the social services. It's ridiculous. Claiming her offspring are in danger. This guy is a sick, narcissistic prick. And he's obviously been triggered on the fact that his game's up on the 1099 thing, the fact that they've made a lot of money. It's ridiculous what's going on with that. And as I said, down the line, we're going to go through that in a proper manner because it's worse. He's just getting worse and worse. But the veracity at which he's attacking these females on, would anybody in their right mind anonymously report garbage? I mean, this lass's husband's in hospital after just having a motorbike crash. And this pillock, she's got to go now for a voluntary interview with the police. Now, okay, you might say it's voluntary, yeah, but you've got to remember what we're dealing with here. He's pulled in the entire family court system to potentially screw this girl over. And the police, of course, they just want her to incriminate herself. That's why they go for a voluntary interview. I mean, my advice always is no comment, but you've got to bear in mind, this is family court. This is your children at risk here. You've got to be very careful. Now, luckily, the lass has got all the evidence in relation to actually the one that's doing the harassment is these two dicks. I mean, his mole accused one female of being a child rapist and wrote it down. I mean, that's libel based on nothing. You don't call people child rapist if there's absolutely no evidence, not even a smoking gun. But there they go, that's the mentality of these people. That's people in fear. That's what that is. That's people triggered by the fact that the game's up and they are terrified. And narcissism doesn't come into it. It's beyond narcissism. It's satanic narcissism for what they're doing. It's disgusting. And you people need to be aware out there when you're pouring your money in these people's coffers who are going to claim to help you out. This is the kind of characters you are. Now, what I do know as well, I mean, so when you signed up to their gig for the 1099s, you have to sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Okay, now why would you have to do that, for a start? Second, they make it clear in all the literature you have not to contact the IRS. Now that goes completely against the way that system works. When you are going down the 1099 route, part of that is you open an account with the IRS. Okay, so if you've opened an account with the IRS, you can access that account. Now, what I know is that once you've entered into that arena, you can ring up or email the IRS and they're happy to speak with you. They're happy to help you, providing you're doing things correctly. And part of that help is if you provide the correct data that's in sync with what you've put in, they will give you access to your account so that you can see what filings have been put into that account on your behalf or by you. So the fact that these two Johnny-come-latelys made it clear throughout their contract that you have to sign before you'll do this is that under no circumstances are you to contact the IRS suggests to me that they knew in the get-go that they weren't going to be putting in the correct documents and didn't want you to see, didn't want you to speak with the IRS. Yeah, so NDA, which, okay, I can agree to a point. You don't want it being threatened if you're legit and you're giving people a proper avenue in order they can claim back the cash that's gone through the bank accounts for the last 3 years. And any cash that you've spent, if you've got the receipts, again, you can claim that. Fair dues, I can understand a bit of an NDA on the fact that you don't share what they're presenting to you. Acceptable. Otherwise, it becomes a non-business, doesn't it? However, not making it clear that you're contracting to not contact the IRS isn't. That shows that you're hiding something. So these people are a lot more terrible than you would even at this stage consider. And you need to keep that in mind because it's ridiculous. Even outside of the way they're attacking people, that are calling them out on the scam. The scam itself, when you start to break it down, is a scam. And obviously if you couldn't see, you couldn't see. But my word, it's just a terrible thing. It's really not looking good for these people. Now, my advice is this. You do contact the IRS because now we're seeing potential criminal behaviour. We're even seeing potential fraud. Now, this is my advice to you people. If you've sucked into these people and you've shelled out the £1,500 per year claim, the £90 plus up to £120 per month subscription, it's a lot of money, folks. And from what I can gather, there's been a lot of people handed over them figures. Now, the thing is, it's looking like they've defrauded you and then protected that fraud. Do you hear what I'm saying? You then have the right to break that contract because it's fraudulent and make contact with the IRS, and providing you've put the correct documentation in and identified yourself with the IRS and created the account, then they will happily give you access to that account and you can see what filings have been put into that account. Therefore, you will be able to see whether what they contracted to carry out on your behalf has actually been carried out. And if it hasn't, then all the wind and piss, all the shit that you're dealing with and suffering at the moment can transfer to those two. But more importantly, you ensure the IRS and Securities and Exchange Commission understand this. They will go for these two people. You won't need to do anything. They will do it for you because they're defrauding you, but they're also trying to defraud the IRS and the Securities and Exchange Commission. And this is the way you've got to start to look at these games. They're double-edged. And you do have rights. And if a document is potentially fraudulent, you would be in your right to contact, even though it states in your agreement with them, to go directly to the IRS and present your case in that manner. But you've got to do things like this. You can't just sit on your laurels and wait. You've got, and this wind and piss that they're throwing out at everybody is to deflect from that so that you don't do that. They want to tie you up, keeping you busy, protecting yourself from them. When in fact, what you need to be doing is going directly to the IRS and reporting them, getting the IRS to look at it. You need to look at your filing to see to what degree of these people shafted you. Because if it's deliberate and it's fraud, they're in some... You're talking prison time for these people. Prison time. And there's no statute of limitation on fraud. Remember that. So rather than doing battle with the margy-barging on the internet and giving them more ammunition to give you more grief, again, to deflect you from doing what you need to do, pull your heads together, get in contact with me, because one of my colleagues is pretty expert at this, and we'll help you formulate that kind of an idea so you can go direct to the IRS, contrary to whatever's in your contract because it's looking fraudulent. And let's get these two gigs in prison as a warning to everybody else out there that moves to defraud you. That's the way to do it. Don't tittle-tattle with him like that. Go right to the core of it and let's get them for fraud. That would be my advice to anybody that's been pulled in trouble with that particular group and that particular method of basically taking your money off you. So who's joined us? And then we'll have a look at this church document. So that's an hour ranting. I don't know. Right, so Benefactor says, hi Sean and Wise Asylum team, looking forward to your presentation tonight. Evening Benefactor. Jane says, good evening Sean, chatty crew and AMG. Evening to you Jane. Mew says, hello Sean and usual inmates. Evening Mew. Jerry says, how do Sean and all the great people in the White Asylum? A bullseye. Evening Jerry. Me says, hi everyone. Evening me. AMG says, evening all non-mutants and me. Meaning not me, but me out there. He's a psychic guy, is over at AMG. I'm quite getting into this guy's gig. Evening to you, AMG. Jerry says, laughing his tits off. Slipknot says, it be happening alright, Sean. Alright, everyone. Alright, Trev, how's it going, mucker? How's it going? I can't pick up links on my phone. Remember, I can't. It's no good. I don't do internet on my phones. So if Yvette said, just send it on Messenger, I can pick that up then. Thanks, Slipknot. Paul says, good evening, Sean and fellow inmates. Evening, Paul. AMG says, evening, Jane. Hope the hemorrhoid cream is working. PY Music says, evening, Sean and all. Evening, Paul. Nice to see you. Cos gives it the hand up and the frog. Evening, Cos. AMG says, Sean has been scalped. I do like to keep it short, chaps. I mean, I've had every haircut you can imagine. I've had it down here. I've had it up there. I've had it bleached. I've had it all sorts of colours. I've had flat top. I've had flick head. I've had the lot. I've had it all. I've had it shaved twice a day with a razor. I do like to keep it short. Otherwise, it doesn't half aggravate me. It does aggravate me. And I have to look back at some of my earlier videos a couple of years ago. I look like fucking Tintin with that flick on, and I'm like, what? So, yeah, I've been skinned. Me, surely some in fires of gold, what happened to that? Well, I mean, there's your test. There's your plan. You can see it plain as day. Make it as you wish. Jerry says, you're not talking conspiracy now, Sean. No, absolutely not. No. No, there's no conspiracy. They put fucking blueprint there. So, no. Ulick, hey Sean in chat. Evening to you, Ulick. Slipknot says, 33 watching, smiling. We're 55 up there, it says. I saw 60 earlier. Good on you. I think people do like it, though, when you start argy-bargying, don't they, with other geezers, you know. They like that. They like the argy-bargy, you guys out there. You're naughty. You're very, very naughty. I remember when I started doing these live streams, and obviously I didn't swear. I was trying to be a bit southerner like. And then I had a rant one day, and well, fucking hell, they were all emailing, oh, swearing, we like it, we love it. Everybody wanted me to swear my tits off. So, well, fuck it, we'll swear. I'm a northerner anyway. We pretty much swear every other word anyway, don't we? So what the fuck? And it's Sunday. St. Jimmy says it's alright. Thanks, James. Big E, wisdom is not a flower for us to pluck. It's a mountain and it must be climbed. You damn right there, Big E. And evening to you. Jerry says, Ulick. There we go, he's giving it the handshake and the thumbs up. AMG says, say what you mean, Sean. Fuck off, Elon. Yeah, fuck off. Get the fuck out of my politics, you piece of shit. You've read my fucking Twitter. You can kiss my ass. Fuck off. Get out of these politics, you piece of shit bag. And supporting that little Tommy the Tit shows us exactly who you are. So absolutely, MG. Fuck off. Like that. Ulick says, Jerry, you kept my seat for me, thanks. And he's a bit of a clapping handies. Jerry says, you move over two skinny ducks. Okay, John Smith says, my neighbour's electric car battery lasted 2 weeks before it failed. Really? What make with that then? And what are we going to do about it? Well, I can't tell you that, can I? You've got to do what you think's right. That's all I can say. Jerry says, boom, boom, boom. Slipknot says, Nelson Mandela and Cliff Richards are Knights of Malta. Yeah, Nelson Mandela, he were 2008, Melrose House, there were a meeting held, and he was asked, do you want to take over the ANC? Because everything's going to change in South Africa. He agreed. First thing he did when he became president was borrow $5 billion from the World Bank. For guess what? Weapons. That's what he did. So he indebted South Africa's economy immediately to $5 billion. And one wonders what was the collateral. Because if you go like with Brazil, they borrowed 7 and something billion and had to put the entire Amazon basin up as collateral and then defaulted. The Amazon basin in its entirety belongs to the IMF. That's how the game works. So, yeah, Nelson Mandela was his shit. Did he spend time in prison? Probably a bit, but not much. Bloodline is the lad. He is an Knight of Malta. He's also... No, I don't know whether he's a Gotcha. But I have seen him with purple, but I don't know how... It's a long time since I've looked at Mandela. Me says, answer is within. If we know, others catch up. Absolutely. But you've just got to do your thing anyway. Don't wait for people to catch up, lad, neither. John says, we've become gods. Yuval Noah Harari. WEF. You're fucking damn right they have. They have and all. AMG says, epic rant, Sean. Guest appearance on GB News. Yeah, because they're just trying to... They're trying to now agitate this division between Christians and Islam. I mean, it's not that the divisions are not already there. They are. I mean, the Muslims have been very fucking naughty for the last 20 years in what they've been doing. Very fucking naughty. In fact, and we've paid for it because our credit is paying them the benefits that they're then giving to the fucking bank. So there's no innocence in this. These fuckers are just capitalising on what now is in the mix and hoping that we have it. Because when we have it, that's martial law. Because that's ultimately the aim. Same in California. They're actually now in a state of martial law, even though it hasn't yet been declared. That's how it's been operated. So thanks for that, MG. Mid-knowledge, says me, yep. Forgot your own name, what do you know? He's addressing me, not me out there. Confusing, I know. Jerry says, great, I'd say you were marching up and down backstage waiting to throw this out, Sean. No, honestly, I were all chilled. I went out for a fight, sat down, thought, right, here we go. I was going to go my usual thing, and as soon as it went ping, I went pong, and away I went. So, no, nothing planned, it just happened. St. Jimmy. It's St. Jimmy, I'm telling you now. He's not honking on his guitar, he's plucking my fucking strings, I'll tell you. And I've got me, let's have a little keyboard table, so it's slowly turning into a studio. And it's slowly getting there. Now I have no neighbours, so I thought I could make a much noise. My house sure is getting a bit upset at me noise. I'm like, shut up. So it might be going in its cellar, the Flossie, which carries on moaning about my music. You know what I mean? So if I do that, I'll need donations of food that I can throw down pipe, and she can pick it up like that. Because I'd do it let her out, because she'd probably scratch my eyes out and kill me. So, any more of that malarkey, she's going in the fucking cellar, is what I've said. If I can get her in a straitjacket first, because it's pretty lethal. So yeah, where are we? So no, it wasn't planned. No, absolutely not. I was going to be nice and lovely. I don't know what happened. I know you're writing in plain English. Exactly, says me. June says, good evening, Sean and chat. Evening, June. Mew says, you can swear in your church. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can. And yeah, so right on there, Mew. Mew says, Sunday sermon. Yeah, true. Absolutely. Jerry says, hey, June, 9:30. Is she late? I don't know. This detention's going to have to come out in February, I think. By February, detentions and lines, I think, is coming. Me says, I know a lot, but can wear different hats for ease. Ooh. MG says, I've got a tall one for you. Thumbs up. Slipknot, where are the lasers coming from? Well, yeah, I know. Well, I mean, we've seen them come off planes. So, there's planes doing it, I'd say helicopters. But my guess it would be drones. I mean, there's such a long way ahead now with them Reaper drones that took all fuel. They're electric now. Then they can stay up there for like 10 hours, these big drones. I mean, I've seen coppers using drones, not here, but where I were last pad. Big fucking big uns. It was probably about maybe a foot across. And they're using them a lot more these days. So I'd say big fuck-off drones, because they're silent, aren't they, you know? So that's what, that'd be my guess, Slipknot, to be honest. Jerry says, and the flooding of the other state, absolutely. Jerry says 3 months ago or so, yeah. EMG says, only one he's not mentioned is Tommy Robinson, give it a minute. Well, I think I did it after that, didn't I? Well, it drives me nuts that people are falling for that. They're falling for it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, but hey, I can only say my piece. I can't force folk to see what they see. It's not my gig. Mew says, like I tried to say, Trevor, blue wheelie bin, unburnt, not melted, in amongst the burnt homes in LA. So why was it placed there? But why are Chinese painting the fucking roofs blue? Why? The future is blue, flat. We're going to have to start painting our roofs blue. We are. You want blue cars? How did you know I had an elongated head? Says me. Have you? Yeah, not related to Jacob, are you? Slipknot says, who knows Mew? Mew says, indeed, AMG, land grab alongside money grab. Yeah, absolutely. Natural disaster, not insured. Well, I think what they're saying though with some of that insurance thing is that it was that you could get fire insurance, but they've been changing it slightly. So if you get a new policy, they've changed it. So I don't. Or you have to go for a special policy. I don't fucking know. It's there to see a bit like 9/11, innit? You know, all that malarkey. All the precursor games on the finance, the insurance blag, the fact that he bought it, the fact that the Jeb and Neil Bush's company were in there supposedly changing the fire alarms system, yet it were all focused around the lift shafts, which you'd have to do to crumble them to that degree. And each floor they were on doing it, they were armed guards, so nobody that worked at the World Trade Center could go on that floor at all. So it was a full military gig, supposedly just to change the fire alarm system. It's all there. Yeah, William Cooper told you exactly what we're going to go on 3 months before. Now Alex Jones is trying to claim it. Well, he's not personally, but his mates are trying to shove it on him so that eventually it will be Alex that gave you that warning. No, it weren't. It was William Cooper. And if Alex mentioned it, he was copying William Cooper because it was his job to take over from William Cooper. And William Cooper fucking knew the same, which is why he threatened to kick the living shit out of him. And people forget this stuff because, of course, if you've only come to this in the last 5, 6, 7, even 10 years, then the stuff that you've been looking at is the stuff that we put up, that we based off William Cooper, John Coleman, all these old school guys. They gave us the data, LaRoche, you know, all these people that were our backdrop to work with. We represented it in a new manner, and you basically have picked up all the stuff that we put out from the early days. And Ike's a big part of that as well, even though some of his stuff's a bit... But I don't know. He's seen right through this Elon Jones thing, so I'll give him his due. I'll give him his due and his credit there, you know. Anyway, where are we? Slipknot says, a chap did decode in Gematria regarding the LL fire links up with Johnny Cash Ring of Fire. Really? Interesting. People don't see the damage caused, says me. Yeah, it's massive, isn't it? It's huge. Benefact says, the insurance companies cancelled the insurance contracts. Got information from someone who had property. Really? 1666, says Jerry. Well, yeah, because that's why they did that. And then Christopher Wren rebuilt the city, didn't he? And nothing could be taller than St Paul's Cathedral. And then BT built the Telecom Tower, and it all went tits up after that. So yeah, MG says John Smith 100%. Yep. Most people are turning a blind at the seriousness. Yeah, they are. It's too scary for them. They don't want to face it because then they'll have to deal with their own cowardice and lack of effort. Jerry says, and the reporters sticking their necks out fearlessly. Oh yeah, I know, it's pathetic. The Olympic City, for 228. Always Olympic Games, isn't it? Because so there's going to be a shitload of you can get an idea then of the symbolism that's going to be pushed out in 2028. It's all going to be smart city. It's all going to be IT. It's all going to be robots, transgenderism, transhumanism, and Elon Musk's, what do they call it, Neuralink. I mean, people forget that that's what he's doing. And I said last year, they tried it on a human. Fucking disaster. And the doctors that were involved in it were absolutely shocked to the core and wrote a thesis about what they experienced. And he's pushing that, and he wants every human to have that, and people still think he's on your side. Come on. Get a grip, people. Get a grip. It's there for you to see. But he talks about Mars. It's just pure fantasy. It's pure fantasy. CGI, the entire SpaceX gig, when you watch it, it's garbage. Utter shit. Elementary material also, yeah. Jerry said, I need to have a shower before it's all gone. Yeah. It's all planned, says me. It is. Mew says it'll be all or already, not 6 and 7. It'll be already, not 6 and 7 genau. I'm not sure what that means to be all China. Best get used to cold showers. Yeah. True, Mew, but all mobile or not 5G. That's true. Solvermiss says hello, mate. How are you, Solvermiss? How are you doing, buddy? How's the weather over there in Oz? Because the lurker's we don't see much of the lurker. Use plenty of soap, yeah. 3310, 3310. Do you remember that? I've got one, actually. And I tried as a mic. I can't get it to work on a sim. I can get the phone to work because I got a new battery. But none of these new sims seem to work in it for some reason. Better than 3210. I think I've got one of them as well. Or pigeon. Yeah, pigeons, get back to pigeons. Or wife, yeah, they can chatter. 33 minutes, 10 seconds late. Well, it's alright, mate, we don't mind. We're not bringing out detention till February. Charities is laughing his tits off. Franz Holler, greetings, Sean. Good evening to everyone. Good evening, Franz. Mew says, keep on smiling while you're up, love. Grab me a cold one. They are very handy. Wives, says Mew. Yeah, well, they can be. Mine is a proper nutter, says me. Okay. AMG says, quells surprise. Solvermiss gives me an apple. No problem, accepted. Accepted. No detention, no lines. It's all good. Me says, what did I say? Well, with glasses on. Mew says, ex-golf mine in the 50s still has a voice. Ex-golf mine in her 50s still has a voice. Are you talking about your Flossie? Hey Lisa, if you're watching, is he being naughty? Is he being naughty because you're not watching? Well, you can see now, if you watch it back, love, I'm on your side. He's a bad one. Sometimes he's ever... we're already... No fog here, says AMG. It's foggy up here, and still loads of snow up on tops. Wish these drones would do one. I think we should be capturing them, really. We should be trying to catch them. And then turn them into, like, mountable gigs kind of thing. That'd be a laugh, wouldn't it? The killer fog, stay indoors. Burn build back better, do you get it, says June, absolutely. The thaw started here in the north, it has. 6 chilled sack setter, says John. So 666. Well, think about it, number of a man. Well, everything is number, isn't it? Your birth certificate, your national insurance number, your SIN number, your entry number, your birth certificate number, your entry number. And speaking of numbers, time stamp. Very important in that it's on the hospital documents, but it's not on the birth certificates. Again, it's why are they putting it on one document and not on another? Because it's another separation of instrument. One's got a timestamp and all the data. After it's registered for the record, it doesn't. On the clock, 60 minutes, 60 seconds, 60 minutes, 666, that lower 3. You're on the clock, aren't you? You're in that outside world, the world is, you're on the clock all the time. 666. The number of a man. Fucking hell, there's numbers all over around us. Can you see what I'm saying? Yeah, there we have it. It's 66, it's the number of a man. So it's not a one man, it is the standing of a particular expression of man, which is fucking monster. It's a human, according to their piss. Yeah. Makes sense, doesn't it? You know, it's not some fucking... Do you know what I'm saying, though? It's a right low-grade expression of what was originally intended for the creation called man, the spacesuit down here. It's gone right downhill. If UK don't pay tariffs, 51st state. Well, France says smart add Old English smeart, painful, severe, stinging, causing a sharp pain, related to smorten, meaning executed with force and vigour. So that's smart. Thanks for that, France. My old matey, how you doing, bud? Hope things are improving for you. Me says King gave away sovereignty. No. It's just no longer in anything to do with England. Because in their game now, England doesn't exist. Jerry says, Rosa Kiar behind the green mask. Mew says, if we become a state of America, can I have the right to bear arms? Well, don't ask, just do. Why are you asking? Do. Do what the fuck you want. If we become Solomon says, it's sort of a reset of kinds, yeah. It is, of course it is. Fire and Ice, says Jerry. Also 1099A, says me. Paper with ink on it, duh. Fiat currency is taxable each time you use it. It's taxed to fund all the problems we face. And it never discharges the debt because it is a debt instrument, isn't it? Which is what I said to Slick, the barrister, who come back with this absolute bollocks as to why it didn't matter. And I'm thinking, you fucking tossbag. Benefax says, Franz, how's the weather in Austria? Jerry says, they use the everyday people as canaries in the coal mine. Franz says, Benefax, greetings, mate. Windy with a little geoengineering snow we had today. Hope you're alright over there, my friend. Yeah, we've had some snow over here in my old China. I don't know whether it's funny snow, but people have been testing. Programmed by the language, says me, yep. Benefax, friends are all good here for my friend. Please contact Sean to reconnect. Yep. Not a problem, my friend. Oh, yeah, because you've been... Yeah, by all means, my good man, we'll have to do a Zoom. The Lone Rizzler says, evening, Sean, Wise Asylum, late again. Well, we're all right. We're not doing detentions till February. So, evening, Lone Rizzler. Franz says, Benefactor, I was actually going to do exactly that. Looking forward chatting away with you. No problem, mate. Johnny says, and who is doing anything to stop it? None but ourselves can, absolutely. Even a dog knows right from wrong. Well, they still like to bum each other, don't they? A bit, you know. But that's territorial, innit? And I'm bigger than you. I'm your boss. Which some of the fucking dark gangster people I've met in my time, the more sadistic they are, the more they're into that. I'm telling you now, it goes with the territory. It's like a satanic thing. The more dark you go into that realm, the more that animal nature becomes dominant. I'll tell you. Jerry says, who was the man on the horse? 'Twas the Lone Rizzler. Benefactor Franzol, yes, miss our conversation, chat soon. I call them MK Ultra people. Says me, emotional regulation, 9th dimension. The Lone Rizzler, Jerry. It comes from my smoking days. The last one when you need 3. Okay, dissolve boundaries, yeah, June. It started in the Thatcher days. Well, the privatisation of our infrastructure, absolutely, she went all out for that. But it's been going on for a lot longer than that. 1945, when they physicalised what they'd started in 1933 as a system. Jerry says, know the feeling, the Lone Rizzler, not live in the fiction. Good judges like people with knowledge, they do, they appreciate it. The loss of law was discussed in the Full English show with Graham Moore show. Was it really? Is Graham still sucking the shit out of Trump? The Lone Rizzler, 25 years ago I started a campaign to number them individually. Expect a stoner to remember only 10 left yet. For there is no respect of persons with God is a Bible verse from Romans. Well, I think I put about 6, 7 to 10 together, just specifically about not respecting persons from the Bible, yeah? Simple as that, yeah. Ched's one. Bumped into my MP yesterday, Ian Lavery. Labour gave him what for over rapes. Was like talking to walking drone. He's getting threats, he said. Think he knows what's coming. Thanks for that, Ched's one. Well, yeah, I mean, these fuckers are... They've all voted against. A massive amount of them have voted against doing anything about it. Because they need to keep it in the mix to excite the Tommy Robbins. The Tommy Bobbins gang. And then it keeps Elon looking like he's not Chinese. Do you have the right to intimidate or harass me because of my faith that states all persons is sinners? Says me. Jerry says, and no sticky bit on it either. John says, the guy harassing Laura is mentally ill. Laura? Oh, yeah, John. Absolutely. I mean, I've read what she said today because, I mean, where does this guy get off? Where does he get off? Doing that to a lass. No matter if you're having a spat with somebody, you wouldn't go to that degree. And anonymously. What kind of a coward bastard or bitch action is that? But now she has to dance with Family Court Brigade, and we know what they're about. Money off your offspring. So, yeah, he's mentally deranged, this lad. He's fucked. There is many ways to do things, but it's up to you what to do. Correct can be wrong. Jenny says, they were asked in a particular case why the lies, and he answered that's what they're told to do. So they're just bitches, aren't they? Stop fighting against each other, although the biggest threat to the people is the people itself. Yeah, you're right, we don't fight against each other, but shills need to be outed. And remember, they attacked me for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I'd never even been on their fucking Facebook, let alone commented. So obviously they've dragged me into this game because now we can see to what degree these shitbags are going, and it does need airing because it's disgusting the way these people are dealing with folk that are out in their own crime. Yeah, it's not good. So stop fighting yet. But you as a person, not beneficiary, it's all word trickery and those kinds of blah, blah, blah. More free advice from Sean, thanks me. Why? Because they make revenue, absolutely do, and a lot. If you do it as a beneficiary, you need a trustee, such as a car dealer who fills in forms, yeah. Just be happy, says me. Smash the like, folks. All you lurkers, give it the thumbs up, it's free, don't be shy. Yeah, go on. Evening Rizzler says MG, blah, blah, blah. William Cooper warned us about George, he certainly did, and made it clear that he'd kick his head in if he ever pretended that they'd met him again. Yeah, he still is sucking the belief in Trump. Well, there you go. Tells you pretty much everything. Right, now, if I just... see, it's very awkward because I wanted to put these in the site, and obviously you could peruse them at your leisure, but unfortunately, I've not been able to do it. I'm on with server issues. Now, I don't know whether it's to do with what I've been dealing with for the last couple of months, and they've now upgraded it and I'm having problems, but it could be, oh just a minute, I need to access that, so that needs to go, and that one needs to, let me just, sorry, so instead of putting them in site where it's easy accessible, I'm having to do them by another way. Here we go. How the church, and this is from a German guy, how the church manipulates through power. Can you see that, chaps? I think you can. Now I have to make it a little bit smaller. But this is all about the baptism, it's all about the what we already know, but again, there's a lot of people out there. Me included, thought it might have been a bit of a diversion. But actually, it really isn't a diversion at all. So how the church manipulates through power. It says, did you know that baptism places an anchor on your soul field and marks your soul with an indelible seal? Institutionalised religion and churches, as well as other systems that operate through manipulation, use such subtle interventions to hinder individual human development, keep people in fear of divine punishment, and exert power over them. Now, something else I learned this week. To our Jewish brethren, do you know the way the rabbis keep the Jews from having the way out? It's because they're not even given a first name. When they're born, it's surname. If they want a first name, they have to get circumcised. How dastardly is that? So not only are they not allowed to study the New Testament, they're also not even given a Christian name, so that there's no way they can do that. But yet, if they settled here back in the day and amalgamated, which is what they were supposed to do, then by definition of the fact they would have a surname and a first name. So by definition of that fact, they have the gateway out. But they're not even given a first name until they're circumcised. How power hungry are these rabbis to fix them to that system? It's ridiculous. Now, I didn't know that, but now I do. And now you know. I was a monk for 10 years and a Catholic priest for 8. I left the priesthood in 2008, and 2 years later I left the church. What had happened? My childhood was shaped by the Catholic upbringing. At the age of 19, I decided to seek peace in God, as the material world no longer satisfied me. I wanted to renounce the world and fully embrace the love of God. I entered a monastery and became a monk. There I practiced poverty, chastity, obedience, humility, and asceticism. In deep meditations, I felt this living God within me and eagerly delved deeper into the knowledge of Christian mysticism. A new world opened up to me. When I was ordained a priest, I was drawn out of that inner silence and into the world. I left the monastery and took charge of a small parish in central Italy. There I had more time to reflect on myself, and I began to open my mind. I started to investigate. I asked critical questions of my fellow priests and my bishop, trying to provoke discussion to better understand their views. My childlike faith had matured into an adult faith that was no longer satisfied with standardised answers. The gap between myself and the church grew wider. No one is more enslaved than the one who believes they are free, and that's Goethe. At the same time, I wanted to help the people entrusted to me, not just spiritually, but holistically. So I trained as a yoga teacher and a body therapist. One day my bishop gave me an ultimatum. Either you are a priest or a therapist. Both together are not possible. Without hesitation, I chose to become a therapist. I have experienced many things and regret none of it. Those numerous inner and outer processes shaped me. I was able to grow and gather valuable experiences. They were wonderful years, but then it was time to take new paths. Yeah, I mean, it's not the ethos itself; it's the way the church itself, what it's become through becoming a Jesuit operation, and it's been going on for a long time. Remember, they were taking it over for the last 200 years. It only was cemented in a physical reality in 1963 when they instituted Vatican II. So for the last 200 years, they were changing the system so that they could change it completely and put in Vatican II. My experience of being around the Catholics, the real Catholics, is good, beneficial. So you've got to separate that, the church, from the sort of essence of the teaching from the actual physical religion, the structure, the thing itself. They're completely different. And that has been my experience. So I can wholeheartedly go away exactly what he's saying. Nothing was wasted in what he did. Nothing. Because it is about giving yourself the time to explore yourself, to see what you feel, what your soul, spirit wants to give you. And it's going to be different from an institution, because an institution is based around its own perpetuity, survival and finance. In the beginning were the priests. I myself was a priest and I know what I'm talking about. Jesus never wanted a church, never wanted a hierarchy, and never wanted priests to present themselves as intermediaries between man and God, absolutely not. But since the first powerful Christians saw an opportunity for power in this emerging and very popular religion, they began to manipulate the teachings of Jesus. They told the people that Jesus died for our sins, thereby giving us a huge treasure of salvation. However, this treasure is not available to everyone. It requires channels to make this treasure accessible to the people. These channels are called sacraments. Through the sacraments, God's grace and salvation flow to the believers. Naturally, these channels had to be managed, and so the entire treasure of salvation was entrusted to the church, or more specifically, to the priests for exclusive management. Only priests administer the sacraments effectively. This is the teaching of the Catholic Church, which thus disempowers and makes dependent those who seek God. Excuse me. How the Church manipulates with the sacraments. A central example is baptism. The Catholic Church teaches the following. Holy baptism is the foundation of the whole Christian life, the gateway to life in the Spirit and to the other sacraments. Through baptism we are freed from sin and reborn as sons of God. We become members of Christ, incorporated into the Church, and participate in its mission. Baptism is the sacrament of the regeneration through water in the Word. Interesting. Participate in its mission. Well, if the mission changes, which it has, yeah, the Church promises the baptized the removal of original sin and the grace of God. Who could resist that? But through baptism, the child is entrusted to an ominous power that will never let go of it voluntarily. In reality, baptism is a contract, an agreement, in which the parents transfer the child's body, mind and soul to the Church. One becomes the legal property of the Church, as I will explain further below. Furthermore, baptism has the following effects. It imprints an indelible energetic seal onto your soul. It's about a spiritual claim of ownership by the Church over you, regardless of whether you agree with it or not. It hooks into your energy field, making you manipulatable and dependent. It shuts your third eye, so you lose intuitive access to God. Absolutely, you're looking outside. You are baptized into the death of Christ, which is Romans 6:3. Yeah, interesting. Through baptism, you no longer belong to yourself, but to the Church. You are to submit to the leaders of the Church, serve, obey, and respect them. This is what the Catechism of the Catholic Church dictates. Well, we've discussed that, haven't we? It makes you a slave of God, Romans 6:2. The following programs are implanted: ego, original sin, separation, guilt, fear, atonement, and doubt. Prisoners of the Church. You are probably wondering how I know all of this. Well, some of it is stated by the Church itself, while other parts I have learned from my own experience as a liberation therapist. The well-known Cardinal of Madrid, Antonio Maria Rucco Varela, emphasised that Catholic baptism can never be undone, that baptism is a sacrament that leaves an indelible mark, and that the person who has received it will always remain a Catholic. The person. Now there is a key. If he used the term person, then it's the person that can never remove itself from that baptism sacrament. That's important. Cardinal Rocco reminds us that baptism is valid forever and ever, even though one can deny their faith. Being a Catholic is something that cannot be erased. It is part of our DNA, meaning it's programmed into us. Now, I will go with that as well. Catholics really struggle with divorce. It's not a mind thing. It's just it's like an inbuilt program. So, interesting. DNA is a carrier of genetic information and serves, as Professor Dr. Fritz Albert Popp says, as a universal antenna system, an energy provider, and can therefore be programmed. The Church, in turn, applies religious mind control and continuously implants the human mind with programs such as guilt, separation, fear, and so on. More on this later in the text. On 27th of June 2007, Pope Benedict XVI quoted the words of the Church Father Cyril of Alexandria, 380 to 444, about the baptized during a speech in Rome, which were, you have fallen into the nets of the church. The church father also said, it is Jesus who through the church baptism takes you, the baptized by his hook. It's made very clear to you here. Well, is Jesus Yeshua? This is another point that once you start to grasp language, then you have to approach this and say, well, is Yeshua, who was the man that brought us the way out, is he the same entity as this character Jesus? Well, no, because there was no J for a start. So, are they different characters in essence? And that's the... So in essence, they're not blaspheming Yeshua because they've created their own caricature kind of thing. So that's an interesting concept to be thought about. So, hang on. Right. In general, rituals are standardized procedures that always follow the same pattern and have been passed down for a long time. Their purpose is to repeat an event continually so that it becomes deeply anchored in the collective subconscious. Through their rituals, the church becomes increasingly solidified and untouchable to change. As such, rituals act as the support pillars of the ecclesiastical system. Well, that's just not just the church. That's how ritual works. That's the reason for ritual. So, if you want to call on an entity that existed 20,000 years ago, it has a set piece. You have to learn its ritual to invoke it. So that doesn't just stand for the church. That's how ritual as an occult system is operational. Which is why language is important, because they can put into language words and phrases unknown to you, you're actually calling in something. Their symbols are the same because demons have sigils, everything has a sigil. And they cleverly incorporate that into certain things that we take for granted and such. And so he's absolutely correct there. Specific signs and symbols are used in rituals. Each symbol represents a vibration and influences your subconscious without you being aware of it. The cross, which is drawn over the head of the person being baptized, is a symbol of death and the energetic force of the past. Through this, the suffering of the crucifixion is continually revived and activated within you. That these thoughts are not unfounded is demonstrated by the results of my work. It is always exciting to see how the lives of people who have freed themselves from church dependencies and manipulations change dramatically for the better. Certainly, baptism does not have the same impact on everyone. You or people you know may have been baptized and have a deep, loving relationship with God. Everything is fine, you might say. This is quite possible and even normal. But you live in a half-wakeful state. You are like a fish on a hook, not struggling. For as soon as you try to resist the hook, I am guilty, a bad person, I don't deserve to be happy, etc., it begins to hurt, and you don't even know where these programs come from. Seeing their reasons can only familial structures of loveliness, only in church programs that control you. Which programs exactly does the church implant? A program's role is to control. Since your soul was banished to the edges of your being through baptism, it can no longer fulfill its duties. Instead, programs installed by the church take over these tasks. Now, circumcision is another ritual, but it's a trauma ritual. Okay? So that child is traumatized, and that trauma is programmed into that child's soul. Okay? Everything's ritual. And if you don't understand ritual, this kind of stuff doesn't make sense. But this makes perfect sense. But he's talking about specifically Catholic ritual and how it's embedding itself in your soul, your genetic, your energetic system. Well, circumcision is an act of violence against the child, specifically an injury to the sexual organs. And what that does, as I've discussed with you before about your three chakras being imbalanced at the bottom, that ritual of circumcision immediately affects the root chakra, but more importantly, it demolishes the balance in the sacral chakra, which is sex. And so, this is why these fanatical Muslims and Jews are so, from our perspective, evil. The eyes, the thought forms, the patterns, what they want to do to people, because it's all about rape. It's all about sexual misadventure. And that's because of the trauma ritual that they call circumcision. Okay. Since your soul was banished to the edge of you being through baptism, it can no longer fulfill its duties. Instead, programs installed by the church take over these tasks. One such program is the ego. It is now, instead of the soul, controls your emotional, mental, causal and spiritual bodies. It influences, controls and directs your emotions, thoughts and spiritual connection. Other programs include separation program. You are energetically manipulated with the program of separation, which causes you to feel disconnected from God, life and other people. You feel limited and closed off, and you feel the need to protect yourself from external attacks. Original sin program, you are energetically manipulated with the program of original sin, which suggests that you were born into this world burdened with sin and helplessly at the mercy of the devil. A massive debt which you cannot repay lies upon your heart. It is anchored in your cellular memory. Guilt program, you are energetically manipulated with the program of guilt. You feel guilty. You can't help it. Through these feelings of guilt, you become manipulable. Rituals such as the act of beating your chest while saying, I am a poor sinner, through my fault, through my fault, through my most grievous fault, is, as is spoken in every Catholic service, continuously activate this program. Doubt program. You are deprived of the certainty of eternal salvation. You are no longer sure whether God even loves you. This program also seeps into your daily life, making you doubt many things. Am I doing the right thing? Am I right? Am I doing something wrong? You feel uncertain and search for stability outside yourself. Yeah, you see how I say it's all been about me coming to balance with myself and nothing else. When I don't trust my inner calling, regardless of how in opposition it appears to be to the world, your family, your friends, I'm off track. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. If anybody else is governing your decision making, you can't blame anybody else when it goes tits up if you follow that through. Take responsibility for everything in your world. That is the first point to get on board when you are moving on the path of seeking yourself, who you are. Yeah, and then you're reprogramming your energetic field, your subconscious, your genetic. You're breaking the chain. You're breaking the curse of your bloodlines. Yeah? Do you get what I'm saying there? That's what it's about down here. And it's the most difficult thing anybody can take on. It really is. You know, it's just... Oof. These programs are implanted in you, among other things, through baptism and in religious education and the catechism. They are continuously updated. All of these programs are like implants or viruses in your aura, and they require a lot of storage space. Perhaps that's why we can only use about 10% of our brain's potential. How to resolve such manipulations through personal responsibility. I haven't read this, by the way. This is the first time I've read it. You can give it a try. In a meditative state, speak the following intention. I, fantastic and amazing, resolve such manipulations through personal responsibility. Oh, no, wait a minute. I'll have to start that again. I, fantastic and amazing, with my eternal and divine consciousness, intend to release my physical body, my etheric body, my astral body, my emotional body, my mental body, my causal body, my spiritual body, and all other bodies unknown to me, as well as my entire multi-dimensional being, from any sacrament of baptism that I have ever received, and from the associated manipulations, particularly crosses, seals, hooks, programs on all levels, and to transform them in love and gratitude into the divine source. Now, I am ready. Yeah, so that's a good gig, that. I quite like that. How the church manipulates through power, the pursuit of world domination. The church is an institution that has been striving for world power for centuries. In this sense, Pope Boniface the 8th, issued the bull Unum Sanctum in 1302. In it, he decreed that all beings on this planet are subject to the Pope. All beings. Okay. 1302, Pope Boniface, Unum Sanctum, there's a link. We therefore declare that every human creature, under penalty of losing their soul salvation, must be subject to the... Bullshit! He never used the term human back then. I'm not having it. Okay? Not having that. So, you see, I've studied this stuff years ago, and I believe all this stuff didn't happen in 1302. Didn't happen in Middle Ages. I think all this has happened in maybe the last 200 or 300 years. All this that they put way back in the mist of time, in my opinion, from what I've studied, I do not accept that these things were done way back. I really don't. And I think whatever the church represented before is what gave us all the architecture that they're now trying to stick on the back of Tartaria. That's what I see. That all that they've been demolishing, the civilization that was, even you may say Atlantis, is what was formed when the West took on the essence of the way out of the Babylonian trap given to us by Yeshua. And that all this piss, Boniface, Unum Sanctum, all this garbage, 1666, I don't have it. I think all this happened in the last 200 or 300 years. And that's my opinion. Because they certainly wouldn't use human in 1302, would they? Let's be frank about it. The Pope had thus declared himself the ruler of the world, and as a result still claims control over the entire earth. In the following centuries, there additional papal documents were issued that further defined and reinforced his claim to authority. 1455, Nicholas V, through a papal bull, Romanus Pontifex, decreed that a newborn child, according to commercial law, would be stripped of any right to property. Now, a child, remember, a child is not an infant or a baby. So again, you have to see this in its real form. And again, I don't believe this was done in 1455. I think this was done probably in the 1800s. A reset took place and they rehashed history like they're doing today. They're rehashing history. They're going to have some major event, major war, everybody will forget, and then all of a sudden they implant it like they did the social system, NHS, etc. in 1945. 1455, Nicholas V, Romanus Pontifex. Yeah, there's a link. This means that all people immediately upon their birth were denied their right to true ownership. According to this idea, neither a house nor a land belongs to an individual, but rather to the Vatican. The person in question only holds a right of use and nothing more. Therefore, this use they must pay an ongoing fee such as taxes or tithes. 1481, Pope Sixtus IV further issued the bull Aeterna Regis, which decreed that every child, according to canon maritime law, would also be deprived of their right to their body. So, the child, of course, is the deceased, is the placenta. So, in essence, it's saying you can't have the body, yet we come in as that deceased, and therefore the church has took our body, and we're coming in as the deceased. So there you go, every child will be deprived of the right to the body. Do you get that? Yeah? Baby, younger. So firstborn is you. And the younger is the twin, the placenta, the deceased estate. That's the child. That's what they hold in custody. And we come in as that child and we lose our right to our body. You with me? Do you get me? It's a trickery. And I don't believe that were done in 1481. Yeah. The legacy of these bulls is still visible today. For example, in state-mandated medical interventions, such as the forced medical treatment of seriously ill children against their parents, were compulsory vaccinations. So there you go. Then in 1537, Pope Paul III issued a decree in which the Roman Catholic Church, according to the Talmudic law, also claimed ownership of the child's soul. Again, the child is the deceased. The priest thus became the ruler of the soul's salvation, exercising this authority primarily through baptism. Jesus and the priests. All of this gave the priests enormous power, certainly not in line with the words of Jesus, who rejected war, animal sacrifice and other forms of sacrifice, and who raised his voice more drastically than anyone before him against the priests and theologians of his people. He called the priests a brood of vipers, blind guides and hypocrites. He wanted to bring God's love close to every person. Well, not person, he didn't, for which no priests and no cult are needed. On the contrary, theologians mislead people according to the words of Jesus, leading them astray and into ruin. The honest seeker of God shall go into a secret room, Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount, where anyone can speak with God, their heavenly Father. Okay? See, the Bible in the New Testament also says you don't pray together. It's a seeker. You go into your own space. It's between you and your higher self. People do not need priests, for God lives in every, again using person, in every animal, in every plant, in all of nature. That's how embedded this term person is. And this guy's a priest. He's obviously not read the whole Bible, if he's using that term. Yeah. Because you don't need to. If you're seeking yourself, if you want to understand the world, your position in it, then it's essential that you study that's governing you. Because you're identifying as the child, without body, without soul. Which is the truth of the matter, isn't it? It's not a lie. It's not pretending. The child is the deceased. It's no body, it's no soul. And they claim that. It's trickery. It's all trickery. Mastery of the language. And making sure we are not educated by this system that binds us, but we are free to do it ourselves, are we not? Thus God placed himself at the service of humans, again, helping them to develop into authentic individuals. It is a God who does not ask but gives, who does not sit somewhere up there but lives amongst us, within us. Certainly this understanding of God is difficult to grasp. After all, the church teaches the complete opposite. Humans are meant to serve God, and by extension, his representative on earth, the Pope. According to church doctrine, he is the one who holds divine power and authority, deciding what is good and what is bad, and demanding submission. But remember, he's the God of the dead, the Pope of the dead. However, the Bible says Jesus called them together and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve." And that's Matthew 20, 25, 28. Why has the church not implemented those commands? When will the church begin to serve the highest good of humanity, not just in beautiful words, but in deeds? Do you believe in a small God? The God of the church is a small God, a God made by humans. The Bible was deliberately manipulated so that the image of God would fit their agenda, and so we are presented with a vengeful, punishing, jealous, offended and demanding God who has nothing to do with reality. But in order for people to still feel drawn to this God, It is claimed that he does all of this out of love, but true love is unconditional. Genesis 1, and then the garden. Genesis 1 is man, you, living. The garden is for the deceased, the fruit of the womb, the placenta. Because in their game, it comes before the baby, or does it? There's word wizardry everywhere. We do not need a doctrine that says we are born in sin and guilt. We don't need priests to undermine our personal responsibility. Well, they do, because that's people. I mean, priests wouldn't exist if people didn't take personal responsibility. It's a two-way show. Man needs it, there they are, they'll supply it. It's a supply and demand as well. We can't just keep shoving everything on, oh, what they're doing. Supply because of demand. Do you know what I mean? Supermarkets are there because people want it. Okay, they put it in first, but we jump on it. The demand is there. They're happy to supply. We don't need a church that keeps us trapped in its manipulative system. Because you are not on earth to serve God. You're not on earth to earn your way to heaven. You're not on earth to seek fulfill the will of God. You're not on earth to learn your lessons through the cross and suffering. You're not on earth to please everyone. You're not on earth to make yourself small, dependent and unworthy. You're not on earth to be unhappy. You do not have to be obedient. You are not on earth to lead a loving, joyful, graceful and ecstatic life. For those individuals who express their own lives in the name of misunderstood concept of God, Jesus as harsh words. Beware, these people are dangerous, for outwardly they appear to be exemplary, but in truth they are like tombs that are whitewashed and look beautiful on the outside, but inside they are full of decay. A truly individual is not one who hides behind a belief, but one who acknowledges and lives life in its fullness. It's time to let go. In order to evolve, one must let go of everything that suppresses and limits. The 7 sacraments of the Catholic Church are not signs of salvation, but instruments of power and dependency. The belief that a mediator is needed between a man and God is based on the idea that there is a gap between man and God that cannot be bridged by one's own strength. This is not the truth. Jesus affirms our unity with God and helps us remember who we really are. But we do not need Jesus as an intermediary for this. Jesus, like any other master, is only a guide, a key opener. We must walk the path ourselves. So let us not place responsibility in the hands of others. Let us empower ourselves. This is good stuff. The oath of the Jesuits. I name a future member of the Jesuits, do now in the presence of Almighty God and Blessed Virgin Mary and Blessed Archangel Michael, the Blessed John the Baptist, Heavenly Sovereigns, and to you, my spiritual Father, the Superior General of the Union of Jesus, founded by Ignatius of Loyola, in the pontificate of Paul III, and continued to the present, brought forth by the body of the Virgin, the womb of God and the staff of Jesus Christ, declare and swear that His Holiness the Pope is Christ's Vice-Regent, and he is the true and only head of the Catholic and Universal Church over the whole earth, and by virtue of one of the key to bind and loose, given to His Holiness by my Saviour Jesus Christ, He has the power to remove from office heretical kings, princes, states, republics, governments, all of which are illegal, without His holy confirmation, and that they may be destroyed with certainty. I further declare that I will aid and assist and counsel all or any representatives of your holiness in any place where I may be, and will do my utmost to extirpate the heretical, Protestant or libertine doctrines by lawful means or otherwise, and to destroy all power claimed by them. On with that, ladies and gentlemen. Till the next time.
electronic, electronic.